Caesar, the Counterintelligence Curriculum Manager here at CDSE and your host for today's webinar. With me today I have Rachel Mojo, an instructional designer here at CDSE who is our producer, and she will be working behind the scenes to keep us on track and on time. We also have Dominique Bishop, an intern with CDSE, assisting today. Before we get started, Rachel is going to provide you our webinar ground rules for today and some instructions on how to use the tools you will need to participate. Rachel?
Okay, thank you, Pete. If you have a look around your screen, you will see at the top there is a small button with 4 arrows. If you select this, this will allow you to have a larger view of the screen. Be sure to select it again to return to normal view and respond to any of our poll questions or chat questions, or to enter a question in the Q&A box. To have a normal view, you just select the button again, as I said. You'll also see there's a question and answer box on the right-hand side of your screen. At any time, you can enter a question into this box for our presenter. We can't get to the question today. We will post responses within our webinar archive online. You will also see a chat box that will move over top of that question and answer box periodically when we would like your input on a question from the presenter. Simply enter your response there. We will also have a few poll questions. These are multiple choice questions. You simply select a response and we'll provide feedback. Additionally, at the bottom of your screen, you will find a notes box. This gives you the call-in number and any other announcements as necessary. We also have a file share box, and there are several brochures in the file share box today, along with the slides for today's presentation. Feel free to download those onto your desktop for future reference. Okay, that concludes our tour. I'm going to send it back over to Pete.
Thank you, Rachel. Over the past couple of years, we have developed several training products and hosted a few webinars that discuss the importance of reporting suspicious activities to the DSSCI Directorate. When reading the NISPOM 102B, one might argue that the language is a bit vague. Today we have one of our DSS counterintelligence special agents to discuss what information should be included when reporting suspicious activities to DSS. We had some questions sent in advance, and Mike will try to answer them during his presentations. However, if we run out of time and don't have the time to include questions at the end of this brief, we will answer those and place those in our archives. So without further ado, Mr. Mike B. from Massachusetts.
Hey, Pete. Thanks very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, depending on where you're calling in from. First and foremost, thank you, everyone, for taking the time out of your busy days to take part in this training. It's most appreciated. Time restrictions are extremely tight. That said, there is no possible way we can cover everything with identifying the elements of an SCR, but we will do our best to give you some tools to take home to your facility and implement. All right, so we'll jump right into it. Here's a brief agenda. You'll see throughout the presentation. I won't read line by line, so everyone, I encourage you to digest the slides as they are presented. I will point out in this one specifically that we're going to be talking about how to identify critical elements of an SCR within multiple categories. A lot of facilities I deal with up here in Boston, especially newer ones to the program, they associate an SCR with an email, suspicious email that comes in, which is correct. But we're going to talk about multiple different categories, things like foreign travel, hosting foreign visitors, etc. All right, so what exactly is counterintelligence? I know everybody on the line here today probably has their own definition. And unfortunately, you may think, so does the vast majority of federal agencies out here, military departments, and what have you. Everybody kind of puts their own spin on it. What is the same with all of them is that CI is really info gathered or activities conducted to identify, deceive, exploit, disrupt, and in some cases protect against espionage, intel activities, sabotage, or assassinations. Now that's pretty broad. We're out there to detect the bad guys stealing our technology and put a stop to it. The other very important takeaway from this is that when we're talking about counterintelligence, there is always a foreign nexus. Things that happen here in the U.S., there's federal agencies, partner agencies that deal with that, but it doesn't really fall into the realm of CI. All right, we're talking specifically foreign nexus. All right, guys, this really isn't a punchline anymore. You really are the front line, especially, I can't stress enough, when we're talking DSS CI and our partnership with you folks in industry. We can't do our job, plain and simple, without your assistance in providing these reports for us to look at and conduct analysis on and categorize, which I'll talk about in a moment. We really can't. So everything that you do for us in reporting these suspicious contacts is crucial and most appreciated. All right, I'll give everyone just a moment to digest this slide. This is just the textbook NISPOM requirements to report suspicious contacts. Assume everybody probably knows that inside and out. Which brings us to our first poll question, and I'll turn it over to Rachel for this.
Okay, thank you. We'd like to test your knowledge here. Should suspicious contact reports be sent to the FBI? Would you say yes, no, or it depends?
Well, that's kind of a trick question, isn't it?
Sure is.
Like we've got a majority who feel that it depends.
Yeah, it does look like the majority, and for those that selected depends, you are spot on. It actually is that it depends. Not all SCRs have to be reported to the FBI. That being said, if you do report them to the FBI, that's perfectly fine as long as that DSSCI is receiving those as cleared industry, that you definitely are reporting those to DSSCI. When we're talking specific reports that have to be required for the FBI, that comes out of NISPOM 1301, and it talks about actual, probable, possible espionage, sabotage, terrorism, or subversive activities must be reported to the FBI with the special caveat that you must CC the Cognizant Security Authority, which in the case of cleared industry is, of course, DSS. So thanks for answering that poll. All right, the next, we're going to talk about some definitions here, and I get a lot of interest on this because the facilities that I deal with, they're not familiar with this, so hopefully this comes as welcome information for you folks on the line. Every single report, every one of them that you submit to DSSCI is categorized into 3 specific categories. We have a suspicious contact report, an unsubstantiated contact report, a UCR, or an ANV. That's an assessed no value. I'll stress that we're not saying it doesn't have value that you're sending it to us. We're saying there's no counterintelligence nexus that we could find. In most cases, it was a plain old spam email. So no CI value, and that's not reserved in our databases. The top 2, SCR and UCR, are things that we contain in our databases. We hold on to them, and of course we do so under applicable U.S. Intel oversight regulations. An SCR is a report that we determine has a significant CI concern of some level. These are things like we know it's a foreign entity targeting your facility for one of your sensitive products for illicit procurement. That's just one example of many. Now, an unsubstantiated contact report. This is another thing we retain under Intel oversight. And I want to explain this. This is a request that comes in that we really can't point our finger on and say, yes, we know that person to be a foreign entity who is targeting your technology for the sole purpose to benefit that home country, as an example. That being said, perhaps you received a request and your business development folks kicked it back and said, hey, we're not interested, or what have you. Maybe they had an embargo against the country, perhaps. Now, keeping that UCR in our database, if you said no to that requester and then we try to connect the dots that 3 or 4 other cleared contractors throughout the country received the same or very similar request, we connect those dots and chances are that it's coming from the same requester. Not every case is going to pan out that way, but a majority do. In those cases, we can upgrade that UCR to an SCR and therefore benefit the intelligence community as a whole. All right. Next thing I want to talk about is the categories that we're going to discuss on identifying these critical elements of an SCR. As you see, there's multiple categories here. We're not just discussing emails. Give everybody just a brief moment. Okay. All right. This slide here is an actual attempted acquisition of technology, or AAT, what we commonly refer to it as here at DSSCI. You see the chat box just appeared. I want to give everybody just a few seconds. Take a look at this. This was an actual request that I cleaned up to protect the actual company that was being targeted. Take a look at it. Go ahead and chime in on what you think is a suspicious element of this request. Okay. Couple more seconds. The folks that are responding here are absolutely spot on. I see multiple suspicious critical elements that I'm going to circle here in just a moment. First and foremost, let's start with the address. Don't just focus on the name. So we see the domain. In this case, it's a publicly available domain. This is a yahoo.com. There are many out there, right? Gmail, Hotmail, and then various foreign countries have their own publicly available domains as well. A simple Google search can showcase all of those. So we have what appears to be, it's under the guise of a legitimate business request. So in this case, Sally has given her company name, phone number. She's not hiding that fact. So it looks to be legitimate at first glance. So why wouldn't Sally send it from her business's domain? You have to ask yourself that question. And we understand not all across the board are going to have their own domain, but the majority do. And again, a simple Google search. Do that due diligence. See, maybe they have their own domain, and it's easily, you can find that on a Google. We have seen the majority of actual suspicious contacts that we can tie back to illicit procurement, for example, comes from a publicly available domain. Next two are the time, and I circled dearest friend. They go hand in hand. You're not always going to know that it's a foreign inquiry. All right? They're not going to spell it out like they did in this example. Many will not. It will just say Sally in the signature block. So you have to do a little homework. Try to tie it back to a foreign nexus. And you're going to do that by the time, as some folks pointed out, grammar. All right, and the time here, it's 3:23 a.m. Not normal business operating hours here in the U.S. It likely points to operating hours overseas. Again, not always, but the vast majority of cases will. Then go to grammar. Dearest friend, my dearest, esteemed professor. Look for grammar mistakes throughout the email. You're looking for syntax, sentence structure, spelling errors that were very common. Anything like that more than likely will point to a foreign nexus. All right, I have the SCS 3500, which is actually doesn't exist. I just threw it in there to protect that company. But this is a sensitive. Just replace it with your company's sensitive, whether it be ITAR controlled, classified part. It's a defense application. So we know this to be a foreign inquiry, and they're looking specifically for one of your sensitive products. Big red flag, especially if there's a defense embargo or a complete embargo on that country doing the request. And here we go with the next two. I'm going to circle them both. They're trying to put you at ease. Hey, don't worry about it. Everything's all set here. Export license has been done. It's all approved. Go ahead and ship that out. Here's the money. They have unlimited resources, by the way, and they will do this on a regular basis. They'll send that money. They'll wire it to wherever you want it just to get that product as soon as possible. And then, again, putting you at ease, we're not going to use this for military defense. In most cases, we see that there's some other. It's for educational purposes, for example, as one of the primaries we do see. And finally, the vast majority, I can't put a number on it, but it's very high. There's always a sense of urgency. You'll see things like ASAP, right away. Customer is very demanding. Look for those telltale signs. All right. Brings us to our second poll question. I'm going to turn it back to Dominique for this.
Okay. We would like to know, how soon must a suspicious contact report be sent? Immediately? Within 24 hours? Within 48 hours? Or during a vulnerability security assessment? So the polls are coming in,
Interesting.
and it looks like majority of people are saying immediately. Oh, it's a tie.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the folks that selected immediately, I'm with you, and for my own selfish reasons, I wish I could say immediately, but unfortunately I cannot do that. The actual answer is there is no specific time requirement. And I say that with the caveat that as soon as you get an SCR, if you get a report that you determine to be suspicious, the faster the DSSCI has that in our hands to do analysis and see that a potential threat exists, the better chances are to pass that to an operational agency, one of our federal partners, that can take actions against that requester to mitigate the potential threat. So as soon as possible is all we can ask for. All right. All right, foreign travel. I'm assuming that the vast majority of the folks on the line have individuals or yourselves within your facilities that go on foreign travel either for business or pleasure. With that, with traveling abroad, specific countries, of course, that we won't discuss in this forum, but the risk is greatly increased for those cleared individuals, especially that are traveling abroad. Some things that we ask is that you pick up the phone or email your CI special agent, my equivalents throughout the country. Let them know what country that employee is going to, and allow us to come out and do a pre-brief and debrief with that individual, of course, with you right by our side. You may already have a policy at your facility that has these pre and post foreign travel briefings. And if you do, that's super. We couldn't ask for much more. We can also come out and assist you with developing the correct questions that we're looking for. We don't want an employee to come back and pencil whip a yes or no question, so it's always beneficial to do a one-on-one interview with that employee to kind of explain those threats. Look for any of the techniques that are listed here that may have been used. If you see any of these techniques in any of your debriefings, this constitutes a reportable event that you'd want to submit to DSSCI as an SCR. You've noticed we uploaded a bunch of our CI trifolds. The one that kind of goes hand in hand with this is, of course, foreign travel. We encourage you to download it. It will give you some more helpful information. All right, I'm going to throw a poll up here real quick. Out of all the facilities out there, how many of you have hosted, and you can just say yes or no, have hosted a foreign visitor? Could be one, it could be a delegation of 10. All right. Pretty good mix. I see some familiar names here, so hello for those of you who recognize my Boston accent. Pretty good mix. A lot of yes, a lot of no. And we see that. We're seeing more and more, in fact. There are thousands, literally, of foreign delegation visits to clear defense contractors that occur throughout a given year. Thousands of them. Look at these collection techniques that we have listed here. There's a lot that you can do to mitigate the threat here. The first and foremost, we ask that you, as the FSO of your facility, give DSSCI at least a week's notice. If it's a day, so be it. Whatever advance notice we can get, the better. And let us know who is coming to your facility. The more information we have, the better, so we can do our analysis and our classified database searches to see if that individual has any nefarious affiliations, if you will. If there are, we're going to come out to your facility, give you a high-level briefing, let you know what that is. We'll never tell you not to do the visit. That's not in our charter. We can't do that. But we will give you the tools to mitigate that threat. If that's calling off the visit, then so be it. You should also go around, maybe do a tour, a dry run of where you're going to bring this individual. Ensure there's nothing that's sensitive out there on the floor. We do have a trifold uploaded for this topic as well, preparing for a foreign visitor, that will give you some very helpful information. And conferences, conventions, and trade shows, I would say that this goes hand in hand with foreign travel, but it's not just foreign CCTs, these conferences, conventions, or trade shows. We're talking about domestic as well, and in some cases even more so, especially the big ones down in the D.C. area for you folks that go to AUSA, AUVSI, big conferences like this. This is a fantastic opportunity for you as a company to get your product out there in the public so that you can eventually get sales out of it. We completely understand that. However, just always keep in mind that as good of an opportunity it is for you as a company, it's just as good, if not better, an opportunity for a foreign intel officer to go out there, walk the floor, and collect as much information as possible on your company, your products, some of the folks that are presenting for your company. They may be targeting them for future exploitation down the road. Never bring out an actual product like a small electronic, as we do know that some have been stolen from these conferences and trade shows, actual pretty sensitive products. So always bring a mock-up that has no sensitive parts whatsoever. DSSCI, we can do specific CCT briefings for you to let you know high-level classified briefings on what the threats that we know of attending some of these bigger conferences. We can give you actual names of individuals you need to be wary of. We do have a trifold, CCT trifold that is uploaded. I encourage everyone here to take a look at that. Some things, I won't read it line by line, but just try to get business cards wherever you pick up or your employee picks up on something that they found suspicious. Look for photography. Some aggressive is going to be in your face. Some will be done in a very subtle, almost covert manner as well. Every employee should be sensitized to that and look for it and pay attention and take mental notes of who that individual was. Better description we have, the better we are to identify them. All right, and that brings us to poll 3. I'll turn it back over to Dominique.
Okay. We would like to know, do you have a social networking account such as LinkedIn, Facebook, or Google+? And majority say yes.
Yeah, still watching this one unfold. This is pretty interesting. I would have thought much more would have said yes, although it is at 75% at the moment, so that's pretty high. Would have figured it had been a little higher. I'm sure the DSS folks on this call all have these accounts. CDSE themselves has social media accounts, as most of you likely know. What I'm getting at is it's a different age. Everybody has these social media accounts, including a huge number of your cleared employees out there in cleared industry. What we're asking is that you sensitize your employees before they, for instance, post matters about their security clearance, for instance, or that they work for a sensitive program. Because believe me, if you do a search yourselves today, go on LinkedIn or Facebook and type in these search parameters, you will be surprised. Hi, I'm a TSSCI cleared engineer working on Project X. What they don't realize, of course, and maybe they're doing it for networking or to get a future job, but foreign intel officers, you better believe, are looking at this on a daily basis around the clock to identify future targets for exploitation. We ask that you report as an SCR, or when we're talking critical elements with social media, if it's unsolicited, it's foreign, especially from a foreign government or military or intel representative, or if there's some kind of message associated with the friend request or a LinkedIn request that raises their internal red flags or alarm. For instance, hey, we're really interested in your company, this product especially, or let's call it the Joint Strike Fighter as an example. This is something that would be hugely beneficial for DSSCI to know. And our fourth and final poll question at this time, Dominique, take it away.
Should you report strange emails if the request is asking for unclassified information? The results are coming in, and it looks like majority are saying yes.
Yeah, about 2/3 saying yes. This is a tricky one. The actual answer is it depends. Unsolicited requests for information, even for unclassified commercial products, you want to report that to us as an SCR if you or the employee that received it feel uncomfortable with stating that information. Another consideration, if you don't know who the requester is, if they're asking about sensitive, proprietary, ITAR, or classified products, then that would be, of course, reported as a SCR. All right. So finally, we just talked very briefly, I told you time would be short, about some of the categories and how to identify what constitutes an SCR in each of those categories. Now, what do you report with that SCR? Well, if it's an email, we don't just ask that you send us the email, although If that's all you do, then it is still very much appreciated. But in addition, tell us why you, as the FSO, thought that the contact was suspicious. A lot of you have been in this field for many years. We value your opinion greatly, and some of the details that you give us in those SCRs, they're going to help us categorize that report into an SCR, UCR, or A and V category. If it's directed at a specific individual, let us know who that individual was, just a line or two. We're not looking for a full bio, why you thought they may be a target, because potentially that's exactly what they are. So we want to know that so that we can brief that employee. Perhaps they're an expert engineer in optics, as an example. All right, additionally, if you can provide the header, and I know there's a lot of curiosity with this one, but the metadata in the header is things like the originating IP, server names, hop points that were used to get to your location. This is critical for us. Every email service has a different means to acquire that header, so we ask that you contact your IT security manager to assist you with getting that info. And then if any other details whatsoever that you feel are relevant. With non-email contacts, just give us the 5 W's. Tell us what exactly happened, who that individual was. Break it down in description. Look for tattoos, any distinguishing characteristics of that individual, because when we plug a name in our database, and you can call your CIA special agent that's assigned to you and kind of ask them to come in and look at our database. The name commonality concerns with foreign names especially, there could be hundreds of the same name, so every little bit of information we have is very critical. Additionally, I mentioned this, I alluded to it a moment ago, if you get a business card, that is fantastic. It's going to give us a lot of information we otherwise wouldn't have had. And for social media, ask the employee that received that request that we determine to be suspicious on those categories I gave you to take a screenshot. This is the best way we find to do this. Take a screenshot of that request that has the photo of the individual. It has their affiliations, schools that they went to. This is going to be very helpful to us in identifying that individual. All right, you really are the first, last, and only in many, many cases, the vast majority, almost all, for us to get this information, to do analysis, and to take action against this to mitigate the threat. Every single report that you guys are submitting to us is extremely helpful. If we categorize it to an A and V, it doesn't mean it's not helpful. It doesn't let us know that a foreign entity is still requesting your product. Every one of them counts. And my final thought on this presentation, and this is personal to me because I get this all the time and I understand it. It's our duty is to give you feedback on every SCR, every report we get. It's simply not possible in all cases. I just want to put that out there. I'm not trying to make excuses. I know it can be frustrating. I really do. Take into consideration one CI special agent covering a 5-state swath throughout the country. It's just impossible to get out there to give you that feedback on a specific report in many cases. And also consider that the vast majority of analysis we have on these SCRs is classified at the no foreign level, secret no foreign, so we wouldn't be able to call you to discuss it or email that back to you. It has to be an in-person, on-site visit, which you can imagine is extremely difficult in some cases. That being said, we're doing our best. Call your CI special agent if you have concerns and just express it. Just talk to them. And just say, you know, I was really expecting something back. And I get that all the time, and I encourage my facilities to do that, and I hope most of your assigned agents would as well. So go ahead and reach out to them. Let them know that you talked to me in this briefing, and I'll take the call and deal with it. All right. As always, visit our website. Everybody knows it. Your CI special agent can come out and do briefings just like this. Foreign visitors, we can discuss that. Specific travel briefings that are classified. If the employee is uncleared, then of course we would make it an uncleared presentation where we still go over some of the threats. We just won't discuss MOs and techniques that they may encounter. If you specifically want to look at counterintelligence, then that's a simple drop-down on the website. Drop down the directorates to counterintelligence. Always, as always, contact your local IS rep and CI special agent if you have any other questions associated with this presentation whatsoever. At this time, I wanted to again thank you so much for taking the time to participate today. I'm going to turn it back to Pete.
Thank you, Mike. Very, very good presentation. I think you purposely went over time so you wouldn't have to field any questions. You did answer a lot of the questions during your presentation that came in during registration, and I will let the participants know that any of those questions we didn't get to, we will answer and post in our archive. So check on us in a week or so, and hopefully we'll have those answers up there for you. I also want to remind you, it is Counterintelligence Training Week here, or excuse me, month here at CDSE. We have lots of great training available online. If you haven't seen it, check it out. And if you liked what you saw today, you know, like give us a thumbs up in the survey. If there's topics you'd like for us to cover in the future, you know, let us know and we'll see what we can do to accommodate you. So unfortunately, we're out of time. Y'all have a great day. We're out here.
Take care.
Thank you. This concludes today's conference. You may disconnect at this time.